Kia ora koutou. Welcome to another edition of the Hot Air Sports Podcast. With me, Macca, and my good mate Mahona. How are you, bud?
I'm bloody good, mate. It's been a while, hasn't it? I've forgotten
It
what you
has.
look like.
Yeah.
Hey. How you going? Not much has been going on in the world of sports, though, mate. Not much has been going
No,
on, so
it's
not
been
much to
very
talk about.
quiet, isn't it?
It's been so quiet every single day and every single morning, filled with sport, mate. It's hard to keep
You
up, isn't it?
stay up all night and watch the cricket, did you?
I watched the first session until we got about 6 down for 25, and I thought, what the fuck am I doing watching this for? I might as well go to bed. Turn
You
this off.
lasted longer than me. At 7 for 3, I switched off.
It was pretty awful, wasn't it? And then, got up this morning, turned it on, watched the highlights, and was nicely surprised by the way we came back a little bit, the way our tail wagged. But I just don't know what we were doing, thinking we could bat first on that. I thought that was idiotic to bat first. What
Well,
do you
and
think?
then play some of the shots that they were playing.
Oh, yeah.
It just
Oh, I
made
don't know
Jimmy
what,
Anderson and Stuart Broad look very well, very good.
why our openers think they have to play at every ball all of a sudden. Hey, funnily enough, it looked like they were out of practice.
It did, didn't it?
Test cricket. I mean, they're playing it all the time. Come on. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
right. So this week's podcast, as Aaron mentioned, we haven't done one in a few weeks. So,
No.
And the last one we did was a football special.
We did.
Today's one is, we're calling it a rugby special, but we're going to just tie up a few loose ends at the end of the football season. So we'll kick off with that.
Yeah, we have to, don't we? We have to. Yeah.
And of course, one bit of news that did come out yesterday was that the Silver Lake deal finally got signed. So,
Oh, I thought that was done last year. Who knows?
yeah, well, yeah. Who knows? So whether it has actually been done or not. So
Yeah.
the
The rugby union took the money, though, not the bag, did they?
They did, definitely did take the money. And,
Okay.
we've got lots of things to talk about how they can spend it. So
Yeah.
yes,
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Let's wrap up the football season, shall we?
quite right, quite right.
All
Way you
right.
go.
Well, Liverpool's quadruple dreams didn't last very long, mate. Well, they did, really, didn't they? They lasted,
Well, they lasted a bloody long time.
lasted a
actually.
bloody long time until the penultimate game of the season, didn't they? Really, after they fell short in the FA Cup and final day
They
of the
won
season.
the FA Cup.
Of course, we won the FA Cup, but then we fell short in the league, didn't we?
Final
We
day
won.
of the
We
season.
won that game, but unfortunately, so did Manchester City. I mean, how were you feeling during that final round of games, mate? I was thinking, shit, we could do this, but we were actually never ahead, were we? We were never ahead throughout that final day. Wolves scored first, and then we were just. If we had have scored and gone ahead in that game, do you think it would have made a psychological difference to Manchester City?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think
I've heard a lot of people
Guardiola's
say they
side are
thought-
just so well tuned, and 2-0 down to Aston Villa. Everybody thought, oh, here we go, something's on here. But
Yeah.
as you say, we never got ahead of the 8 ball the entire afternoon.
And then
City
Villa went
in
bang,
that-
bang, bang. I mean, City
yeah,
went bang,
15
bang, bang,
minutes
didn't they?
spell.
Hmm.
And they locked the trophy away. And sadly, the Reds came across a resilient Real Madrid, who had a keeper in Thibaut Courtois, who
Oh.
did the best ever display in
Yeah.
the Champions League final to give the Spaniards the trophy after their 1-0 win.
Yeah.
Any other game, any other goalkeeper, Mo Salah would have had a hat trick.
Yep. He robbed us of at least
Three
three or four goals.
Unbelievable saves from
Yeah.
Courtois. One low down to his left early in the first half. The curling left footer, which he just got fingertips to push it onto the post. And that one-on-one.
One on one. The right foot of Salah, which went across him. I don't know how he got his hand on that one. Yeah, and Real Madrid do it again, don't they, mate? I mean, they just seem to do it and do it and do it and do it. They had about, I think they only had 2 shots on goal. We had about 20 something. We had most of the position, I think sort of 60-40. Most of the passes, we just had all the stats were in our favour.
Yeah.
But the final score
Not the
wasn't.
main one.
And I don't think, I mean, look, yeah, what do you say? What do you say about that season? I still think, man, we won a double. It's quite funny, eh? We win a double. We win both domestic cups. We finish 1 point behind in the league. We get to the final of the Champions League, and we get all the teams that are finishing, all the supporters from the teams finishing 7th, 8th, 9th, and 12th laughing at us. You know,
There's suddenly a lot of Real Madrid supporters came out of the woodwork.
they did, eh? It's funny how Funny how
red
so many
shirts with devils on the front and blue
exactly.
shirts and
How did where do they put those Real Madrid shirts in their closet, mate? I think there's so much. Oh, there's just a Real Madrid one at the back there. Is there? I can promise you, I do not have a Real Madrid shirt. Do you?
no, not at all.
Nowhere. Why would you support them?
Quite
Anyway,
right.
A double. It was a good season.
Oh, great season! It's one of the club's best ever seasons.
Has to be.
I think you'd have to say,
Has to be.
even not winning the league and the Champions League, those 2 cups, and a lot of people do point to the fact that we got to 3 finals and didn't score a single goal.
Yeah,
but still won 2 cups. Quite a record, really.
Yeah. Well, in the end, no one looks at the score, do they? They just look who won when you get when you get to a final.
Oh, exactly.
You know.
Premier League, Spurs wrapped up 4th spot with Arsenal and Man United taking 5th and 6th for the Europa League spots.
Yeah, something neither of us were picking. That's for sure.
Yeah, West Ham will join the Europa Conference League after their 7th place finish. Now, the relegation battle, that did go down to the last day, didn't it?
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. Burnley,
oh, man. I was so worried.
They had it with, they drew 1-1 in the second to last game. I can't remember who it was against.
Yeah.
Meaning Leeds needed to win.
Yes.
Because they had an inferior goal difference to Burnley. So Leeds needed to win and hope that Burnley drew or lost.
That's right.
Boy, and that Leeds winner was in like
90th
minute.
Fourth. Yeah, it was ridiculous. And of course, Everton had won the previous week, hadn't they? Had survived.
Yeah.
Had survived in the Premier by winning the previous week when they beat Chelsea, wasn't it? Was it
Crystal
Chelsea?
Palace.
Crystal Palace, that's right.
Yeah, they were 2-0 down and come back to win 3-2.
That's right, 2-0 at half-time, come back to win 3-2, and then crowd invasion, which seems to be the thing at the moment, doesn't it? Lots of crowd invasions. So yeah, they scraped them by the skin of their teeth, and then they got thrashed by Arsenal in the final game of the thing. But they weren't even cheering that; they were just cheering in Manchester City goals, weren't they? Because that's how bitter they are.
Right. So Burnley join Watford, Norwich.
Cheerio, Burnley. Cheerio.
Cheerio, Burnley. You've
had a good run.
There's a couple of teams that have been on a similar path before. I remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, Coventry City.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure for about 4 or 5 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
16th or 17th, just avoiding that relegation, and then finally went down and have never been back since.
Yeah.
Wigan Athletic were the same.
Portsmouth.
Yeah, Portsmouth. Teams who spent 3-4 years in a row in those, 16th, 17th spots, so just avoiding relegation by the skin of their teeth. But they, so yeah,
I don't think Burnley. Yeah, I don't think Burnley did themselves any favours by selling their best goal scorer for a start. I know he had a release fee, but I mean, they sold him. They didn't do much great transfer business, and they sacked their manager, who's always kept them in the Premier League. So I don't think they can. I don't think they can complain about much, can they, mate?
No. Now the big one was the day after the Champions League final.
Yeah.
The playoff final. What do they call it?
The richest game in football.
£170 million game.
Yep. The richest game in football, and Forest.
Nottingham Forest.
Hey, Nottingham Forest. It was an awful game of football, wasn't it? Let's be honest. It was one of the worst games of football. And what can you say about that? Of course, John Moss was the referee. And where does moss grow, Macca? It grows in a forest, doesn't it? So of course, John Moss gave Forest the rub of the green, if you know what I mean, and said no penalties for you, no penalties for the opposition. You can go through and go into the Premier League.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I think John Moss has been awarded the freedom of Nottingham.
He must have been.
Let's just say he won't be going to Huddersfield anytime soon.
Jeez, they were just fair dinkum penalties, were both of them.
2 of them, yeah.
The fact that the VAR guy didn't send him up, just says everything about VAR, doesn't it?
Well, let's be honest. The VAR was Paul Tierney.
No, I know.
Yeah,
says it all, really. Yeah.
How many times have we mentioned his name throughout the season as being at the wrong end of
absolutely
dud decisions?
And I did you notice that John Moss got the celebratory celebratory jersey from, I think it was the Leicester players, weren't he? When they did the last, then they gave him a celebratory jersey for his last match and said, "Thanks very much. See you later."
See you later. Never want to see you again.
Exactly.
So yes, Nottingham Forest joining Fulham and Bournemouth back in the
after
Premiership.
23 years.
1999 was their last time
Long
there.
time.
Now, all with Forest coming back into the competition, that will mean that all of England's European Cup, European Champions League winners will all be back in the Premiership now. So
Wow.
Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa, when they turn up at the Empty Head to play Manchester City, they'll be able to say, "Where's your European Cups?"
They say, "We're winning one this year. Haven't you heard?"
Yes, quite right. Anyway, I do have to make a quick shout out to an old friend of mine, Lee Moores. Congratulations on the Premiership, son. Well done to Manchester City.
Oh, yes. So, well done, Manchester.
I've done my good bit for the day.
Well
in the individual awards, Mo Salah shared the golden boot with Spurs' Son Heung-min.
Yes.
He made a hell of a late run, didn't he, to get up and share that golden boot?
I mean, there have been rumours. There have been rumours that Liverpool are sniffing around him. God, we'd have to pay a lot of money to get him, though, wouldn't we?
Now, especially they've made the Champions League.
He's one of my favourite players in the Premier League. Just the way he's always such a positive dude too, always smiling. Just played so well that second half of the season. I would absolutely die to see him in a Liverpool jersey. He's just such a great player, mate. I did notice though, for the Player of the Season award that was announced today, I think it's the Players' Player, isn't it? He wasn't even nominated. Son wasn't even included amongst the nominations, which is really interesting. But no, he had a great second half of the season. Maybe it's because they did it. I think they might have done it in the first half of the season or something. So he wasn't having such a great game. But to me, he's more valuable than Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean,
absolutely, definitely this year.
Yeah, he's just a phenomenal player. I just love Son. Love him.
So who did win that Players' Player of the Year?
No, they haven't announced it yet. They just announced the 5 finalists.
Oh, okay.
But he wasn't amongst the 5 players, and I thought that's kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, just a few other individual awards. Salah, Mohamed Salah, of course, got the Playmaker Award for most assists, as well as the Football Writers Player of the Year, plus the Goal of the Year for his jinking run and finish against Man City in October. And that goal, of course, was followed very closely in the next game, in fact, by a very similar goal against Watford.
He scored that goal a few times, eh? Did one against Norwich a couple of years back as well. Just all over the place.
He did it against Spurs about 4 years ago.
Yeah, he hasn't done it since he came back from the African Cup of Nations, though. Bit of a worry. His form at the end of the season did drop off a little bit, didn't it? I noticed when he scored that goal against Wolves, he thought he'd won the Premier League, didn't he?
Yeah.
I felt sorry for him, and I'm pretty sure he thought he'd won the Champions League as well against Courtois. But no, Salah's form over the second half of the season wasn't so great. Just looking at comparing his stats with Kevin De Bruyne, who won. Did he win the players? He won the Writers' Player of the Year, didn't he, Kevin De Bruyne?
No, the Football Writers was Salah. He won the Premier League
Player of the Year. But when you look at the stats, 34 games Salah's played to De Bruyne's 29. Salah scored 22 goals. De Bruyne scored 15, and he got 13 assists, and De Bruyne got 7. So he's actually got better stats than De Bruyne. But let's be honest, De Bruyne does more than score goals and does assists, doesn't he? You can't really complain that De Bruyne got given that award. He's a fantastic player.
And of course, Liverpool's Alisson Becker got the Golden Glove for the most clean sheets in the season. Rangers couldn't quite do it in the Europa League. They went down to Eintracht Frankfurt, while Jose Mourinho's Roma beat Feyenoord 1-0. And a bit of an upset in the A-League, don't you think? Western United beating favourites Melbourne City 2-0 to win the A-League.
I wonder what odds you could have got on Western United at the beginning of the season to win the A-League. Would have been quite nice, wouldn't it? That was a turn up for the books, wasn't it? That Rangers game, the crowd, I thought was just absolutely phenomenal, weren't they?
Yeah.
That was just a proper European final. And Frankfurt, quite a handy side, really.
Yes.
Defeated Rangers quite handily. So they'll be interesting to see how they go against Real Madrid when they play next year.
Yep, and they'll be in the Champions League too, of course.
They will. So lots of things going on in the transfer market. I think we'll cover that one off in a couple of weeks. Of course, it looks
Yeah.
like Sadio Mane's gone. Mo Salah maybe re-signing. Who the hell knows? We're all crossing our fingers and our toes for that one. And a number of other players on the horizon for Liverpool. I've seen Manchester United today have got rid of Pogba and a bunch of other players, including Lingard and Matic and all Mata and everyone. It looks like they're kicking out everyone.
Paul Pogba's an interesting one, isn't it?
Oh.
Somewhere I saw it cost them over £219 million for Paul Pogba. Given that he left Manchester United on a free transfer.
He left on a free.
However many years ago.
And then they re-signed him in 2016 for a world record. Was it 88 million? Something like that?
89 million.
Yep.
Paid him exorbitant salaries every week. Gave him a 3.8 million golden handshake.
Yeah.
When he leaves on a free transfer.
It's the only Manchester United where you can let someone go on a free, buy him back for a world record, and then let him go for a free again. I mean, if that doesn't tell you everything about how badly that club is run at the moment. And then their statement when they released him, it's been a glorious time. He's done all this great stuff. And you're like, what? What are you talking about? What fantasy world are you living in? So
he's had more haircuts than he played games.
I reckon. So all sorts of stuff going on in the transfer world. In a couple of weeks, we'll have more definitive. Let's have a transfer edition of our football talk. Eh?
Quite right.
Yeah.
So on to our specialist topic for the Hot Air Sports podcast.
Okay.
Today, the controversial Silver Lake deal finally crossed the finish line this week with a resounding vote of 89-1. It was at New Zealand Rugby's special general meeting.
89-1.
89-1 is.
Who was the one? I wonder who the one was.
Yeah, I want to know that too.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people wanting to know who that one person is.
Yes.
Anyway, New Zealand Rugby top brass have said it is the beginning of a new future for the game in this country. Hopefully they'll be singing the same tune in a few years' time, and that it'll bring the sport into today's era, as it is currently still sitting in the 80s or 90s, but more about that soon.
It sounds like it's written by the same people that did the Paul Pogba press release. Honestly.
Same people that did their social media on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
For doing the sandwiches. Good on you, Mum.
Thanks for letting our boys play.
Thanks, Mum. Behind every great rugby player is a nice mum to cook the sammies and wash the jerseys.
Quite right. Anyway, another little controversial topic that popped up during the week. Super Rugby's at the business end with the quarterfinals this week. The tournament format has again come under heavy criticism for having 8 of 12 teams qualify for the playoffs.
Oh yeah, who's this from? From us? From
Hurricanes? No, Hurricanes and All Blacks hooker Dane Coles believes it should be a top 6, but New Zealand Rugby say the format will remain the same. New Zealand Rugby head of professional rugby Chris Lendrum said during the week that having 8 teams qualify means the round robin portion has more bearing going into the last few games. What a load of absolute bollocks.
Oh, I reckon.
So
what about rewarding the teams that perform well?
How are the organisers going to feel? And this probably won't happen, but if the 8th placed Highlanders, who won only 4 of 14 games, get up and beat the Blues on the weekend?
Well, we didn't see that coming.
It makes an absolute farce of the competition.
Of course it does. Where's the advantage for the team finishing top as well? And also, if you want it to, if the team is at the top and they're already at the top, where's their incentive for the last couple of games?
Yeah.
They don't have any. So you're sort of doing it into, you're sort of stuffing it up to muck it all up yourself. I don't get it. I don't get it. Surely if you have less teams, there's more jeopardy on all teams.
Exactly.
And also if you schedule your semi-finals so that the top couple of teams get buys or something, then they've got more to play for in the last rounds as well. But
let me take you back a few years to your beloved Vodafone Warriors.
Yes.
When they finished 8th and beat the first placed Melbourne Storm.
Right. That's right.
Now, how many years did it take the NRL to change that system?
Yeah, 1 year.
Correct.
this ain't working. We're gonna have to change this. Might have been
this is
because there was
wrong.
might have been because there was a New Zealand side that did it, but it didn't
Well,
matter,
I don't
did it?
really think that
No,
matters, to be
I don't think
perfectly
it did
honest.
either.
I
I don't think it is.
realised
I'm just a conspiracy theorist when it
what
comes
a
to the NRL.
stupid bloody system it was they were operating under.
Oh, it was, but at least they recognised it, and that's the great thing about
Yeah.
the NRL, regardless of what you think about the way it's officiated a lot of the time. And when they get something wrong, they fess up and they go, "No, this is not right. We need to fix this," and they do. It seems like New Zealand rugby go, "Oh, there could be something wrong. What we need to do is have a couple of meetings, then we'll get together, we'll dance around a table, we'll have another lunch next in a couple of months. We'll go to the Northern Hemisphere. We'll ask them then we'll run some schoolboy games next year, and then we'll have them. Then we'll report back. And then by the end of next year, we might have an idea as if these rules might be able to be applied for the following season after that, when there's probably 5 or 6 other things that are wrong with the game as well by then. But it's just a farce, mate, isn't it? It's a farce.
Sounds like the Christchurch City Council meetings trying to agree on building a new stadium there. They've spent $4 million already, and not a brick has been laid.
That's perfect. I mean, that sounds like Auckland Council all over, all 18'd.
Well, the thing is, with it's a bit of a sidebar from Super Rugby at the moment, but the whole farce that's going on in Christchurch, the designers have come up with what they thought was the final design of a 30,000 seat covered stadium in Christchurch City. As I say, spent $4 million already on different designs and all these plans, and now they've realised it's going to cost another $150 million.
Yeah,
because they've been stuffing around for so long, the costs have exploded.
Yeah.
I
know.
I mean, the whole Christchurch rebuild, full stop, has been an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been politically badly handled. It's been badly handled by the insurers. It was
Jerry Brownlee.
Jerry
Brownlee.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot of people that should answer for that, you know. And people forget so quick too, don't they? If you're not involved and you're not like living it day to day, the rest of the people just get on with it and just forget about it. And those, the politicians just get away with it. It's just.
Well, I noticed the other day the Crusaders CEO Colin Mansbridge came out and said the fact that they haven't got a proper stadium to play at is actually costing them $2 million per game as a franchise.
Well,
because they can't provide corporate and decent hospitality for members. I'm lucky. I get to go to Sky Stadium. We've got memberships there. We can sit in a nice lounge and watch the game and eat decent food and not cold pies and warm chips and I can have a beer out of a bottle. I don't have to get it poured into a plastic cup for me. They can't do that at Christchurch Stadium.
No, and that's just $2 million a game from the games that are actually being played there. Can you imagine if they actually had a stadium and they could pitch for other sporting events, the amount of money and other events that aren't sport related, the amount of money they'd make from those as well. So that's the thing. It takes balls and foresight and and leadership is what it takes to get shit like this done. It's like I always take it back to the Sydney Opera House, man. When they take the Sydney Opera House when it was originally built in like the 30s or the 40s, might have been the 50s. I'm not sure. Whenever it was built, they did a survey, and apparently 80% of people said, "We don't want that monstrosity. We don't want that. That's terrible. Do not do it." And the leaders, the mayor and the politicians at the time said, "Stuff it. We're doing this because we think it's great."
Yeah,
everyone loves it now, don't they? It's an icon, It's an because they just went, we know what is best, and that's good leadership, That's because you're basically putting your balls on the line because you think this is not a popular decision, but I know it's for the greater good, Yeah. That's what leadership and being a proper leader is all about, But yeah, we don't seem to have very many leaders in anything these days that think about the greater good other than themselves. So whether that be politics, sport, or anything, So
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Super Rugby. The games kick off tonight with the Crusaders and Reds. Then tomorrow.
Didn't they just play the other day?
They did just play. So the Reds have had a nice week's holiday in Christchurch before another game. Chiefs play the Waratahs tomorrow afternoon.
Nice.
And then the Blues Highlanders, that big upset that could happen at Eden Park. Josh Goodhue could get sent off after 10 minutes, for a accidental tip tackle,
Oh,
and then perhaps Mark Talia might accidentally leave an arm up in a tackle and
deliberately knock the ball on.
The eighth best
Send
team,
him off.
The deliberately eighth best team in the competition could come through and win.
Could happen.
And then that's the quarterfinals are finished off with the Brumbies playing the Hurricanes in Canberra. So there we go.
Okay. So can I have a couple of so you picked the Highlanders?
No. I'm just saying that could happen.
Okay, so what are your picks then for those 4 games?
Blues, Crusaders, Chiefs, Brumbies.
Yeah, I think it's probably right, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's wouldn't be a bad 4-way bet actually at the TAB.
Although I might say differently when we come to the best bet of the week.
We'll have our best bet of the week later on. Keep listening.
Right, now an All Black squad of 36 is to be named on the 13th of June.
It is. Now you sent me a message saying, Aaron, you need to pick your squad. And I was like, Jesus, mate, I probably watched 2 games of rugby this year. So what we decided to do was we'll go through your squad and I will have a good read of this and I'll tell you whether there's anyone I would add or subtract. So let's do that.
So let's go through the backs first, the 16 backs. To be named. Fullbacks, I've gone for Will Jordan and Geordie Barrett.
I can't complain with either of those two. They're both bloody good players.
Didn't think you could.
No.
Wingers, Seven Reece, George Bridge, Caleb Clark, and a surprising one.
That is a surprising one.
I've watched him a few times now for the Hurricanes. Is Salisi Rayasi.
He's a comer, for sure.
He's a comer. He's a big, strong lad.
Yep.
Quick. And his father, Philippe Rayasi, used to play for Wellington.
I thought I remembered the name. Yeah,
Philippe Rayasi.
So George Bridge is even
for a good St. Pat Silverstream stock. My old alma mater.
George Bridge, he's not even playing for the Crusaders at the moment, though, is he?
He's.
I thought
Robertson has rotated that squad a lot.
Yeah.
And I've got a list of unluckies at the end, and there's one name in there that you can probably pick as an unlucky.
Absolutely. Okay. I was just thinking the last couple of games I saw the highlight. I didn't think he started anyway. So
yeah.
Okay, let's go centres.
I've gone for Rico Ioane and Braden Enna. And I've bracketed him Anton Leonard-Brown if fit.
Yeah,
but I don't think he is.
I don't think he's going to be fit though, is he?
No.
So just 2 centres, I suppose. Yep. I suppose Geordie can cover centre, couldn't he?
Yeah.
And Caleb Clark probably cover there
George
too.
Bridge can play centre as well.
Yeah.
Second fives, I've gone for Quinn Tupaia, the Chiefs battering ram.
He's a beast.
Great Super 12.
He's improved a lot, and he made the All Blacks last year, and he looked good in the All Blacks. He looked like he was an All Black, didn't he? So has to be there.
And one player who, at the beginning of Super Rugby, I was saying I don't think he's quite ready to play All Black rugby yet, but I've had my mind changed.
You watched that? You watched the last game of the Blues then, did you?
Well, I've watched a few games of the Blues.
Yeah, but last week he was bloody special.
So I've gone for Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
Absolutely.
As my other second five. First 5/8, Richie Mo'unga, Bowden Barrett, and I've gone for one from out of left field. He's been playing mostly at fullback for the Blues, but he's a fine first 5 in his own right, and that's Stephen Perifetta. The 3 halfbacks, Aaron Smith, Brad Weber, and Finlay Christie, and there is another on my very unlucky list that we will talk about very soon. The forwards, 20. So
you got 16 backs, 20 forwards. Okay, let's go through your forwards. Loose forwards,
Adi Sevilla, Hoskins Satutu, Dalton Papali'i, Sam Kane, Ethan Blackadder, Luke Jacobson, and Akira Ioane. They pretty much
all in
themselves.
Good. They do, don't they? I suppose the question there when it comes to, this is the squad, when it comes to the first 15, is who's going to play 7? I mean, that's the thing, isn't it?
There's only one person you can put in there.
Sam Kane.
No.
Dalton Papali'i, surely. he has to be.
been
He
outstanding.
has. I agree. He has to be number 7. But if he's number 7, then Sam Cane isn't captain, is he? So
Yes.
he is
Yeah.
captain from the bench.
No, from number 6.
Oh, okay. You're gonna play him on the other side.
Yep.
Interesting. All right.
They're different types of. If you have a look at their game closely, Dalton Papali'i is a huge tackler. He'll get through, 650 tackles a game. Sam is not far behind, but it's purely for Sam Cane's turnover abilities.
Okay.
Getting to the ruck and turning that ball over. He is incredible, and that's the best part of his game.
Okay, I like it. I wasn't thinking like that. So yeah, good. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Chiefs games, but I know he's been in, and he's just coming back from that injury again, isn't he? So he's always coming back from injury, though.
And with Artie Severe at the back,
absolutely, he picks himself, doesn't he, at number 8?
And that, with that trio, you've got to feel sorry for Ethan Blackadder and Akira Ioane.
Oh, absolutely, and even Satutu. I mean, last year, So. Yeah, but that lots of depth and loose forwards. I mean, those. Yeah. Okay. So what about the locks?
The locks: Sam Whitelock, Brodie Retallick, Scott Barrett, Tupai Vai, all pick themselves.
Yeah.
And I've gone for Josh Lord, who was the late call-up to the All Blacks tour at the end of last year. I thought he did very well, and I think he's had a very good Super Rugby Pacific season as well.
Okay. Cool.
Props,
and then we go to the front row. Let's go to the front.
Ofa Tu'ungafasi, Carl Tuinukuafe, Nepo Laulala, George Bauer, and Tyrell Lomax.
Okay, so Carl, Nepo, George. Anyone missed out there?
Joe Moody.
Moody. What's the story with him? Is he injured?
He's going to be out for quite a long time, I think. Okay.
All right. And what about your hookers?
Cody Taylor, Samasoni Telkiahu, and Asafo Omua.
What I must say is your pronunciation is absolutely top notch. It's absolutely superb. Okay, can't argue with basically any of those. What about your unlucky players? What about the people that did miss out?
Are exceedingly unlucky.
Okay, so give me the names and tell me why.
Well, there's 3 Crusaders backline stars, which really hurt me to leave these boys out.
I'll bet it did.
Jack Goodhue. I just don't think he's had enough rugby.
No, he hasn't.
He's looking good.
But
he's only played 3 or 4 games since coming back.
He's been off for a year.
From that bad knee injury last year.
So,
Lester Fainganuku, he's just been outstanding for the Crusaders, and
hasn't he?
It was a real toss-up between him and George Bridge. But I just think Bridge's experience and ability under the high ball, and his ability to also play fullback as well, just got him over the line. And the standout midfield back from last year is going to struggle.
Miss out completely. But then when you look at the midfield backs you picked, who are you going to chuck out? That's the whole thing, eh? I mean, you just can't chuck any of those other guys out unless you think Caleb Clark. I mean, unless you think maybe Caleb Clark taken from a wing. Maybe, I don't know, but I think Caleb Clark's been playing well this year, so
he has.
I don't know. I mean, unless you maybe take, maybe you drop someone like Stephen Perifetta, because you've got other cover. I don't know. I'm just trying to find a spot if you were looking for it.
I just know that the selectors aren't going to go in without 3 halfbacks and 3 first fives. And they'll want specialist first fives, and I know Perifetta plays at fullback, but so does Beauden Barrett. So
and what about your unlucky halfback? This is a young man that's been playing bloody lights out this season, mate.
Folau Whakatava. The Highlanders. He's the backup to Aaron Smith.
And he's
Highlanders.
He's a bloody good player.
Last year, missed most of last year, and it's just coming back again. This year. A bit like Jack Goodhue, really. Just needs a bit more top rugby to, come the Rugby Championship in September. Maybe in there.
Cool.
But again, you've got 3 top halfbacks.
Absolutely.
Already in there.
Absolutely. He's impressive, though. He's impressive.
I think another one unlucky to miss out is Bryn Gatland. He has had a really good Super Rugby series, and he's kept the Chiefs in a lot of games. Just with his boot.
Yeah, he's a solid player. Eh? He just doesn't make mistakes. That's the thing. He
Yeah.
just doesn't make mistakes. He's just solid. Yeah.
He actually reminds me of a more modern Grant Fox.
Yeah, he is a little bit like Grant Fox.
You know, he doesn't run a lot with the ball.
Yeah, I can
but
see
he's
that.
a really good link player.
Yeah,
and he can kick his
distributor,
goals.
makes the right decisions. That's the thing. He just makes the right decisions. Pass, kick, whatever, eh?
Yep.
Yep. Anyone else unlucky?
In the forwards, Luke Romano's he's the Benjamin Button of New Zealand rugby.
Is he? I was going to say, is he like 100?
Yeah.
How old is the guy? He's been around forever.
Well, he played 12 years for the Crusaders before moving up to the Blues. He's just found a new lease of life this year.
I know.
He's just been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Cullen Grace, another one who's played well for the Crusaders. I think he's really grown by playing alongside the likes of Pablo Matera in that Crusaders loose trio. And the Otago, or Southland and Highlanders prop, Ethan de Groot, is another one unlucky to miss out.
All right. I like that side. I like the side you picked. I mean, besides a couple of players, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the halfbacks, maybe David Havili, but I mean, I can't really argue too much with any of it, really. I mean, okay, so what do you make of that squad then? What there's been a lot of talk lately about the press in New Zealand giving the All Black selectors and the New Zealand Rugby Union especially a pretty easy time of it, sort of saying, we picked all the right players. The All Blacks are odds on to win the World Cup. We're all great. Look at our depth. Look at our, aren't we going great? And then last year we dropped our bundle on the end of year tour, and some people wrote us off and sort of said, well, that's the beginning of the end of the All Blacks and all that sort of thing. You think the squad can reinstill some confidence in the squad, or?
Ask me at the end of the island.
All right.
Yeah, I think they can. There's no major withdrawals from last year. I mean, I can't think of anybody that's sort of retired or gone. I've left Dane Coles out. He just hasn't had enough top rugby. I mean, he's had a calf injury that kept him out.
And also he's saying negative. He's saying negative things about the rugby union, so he'll probably never play for the All Blacks again.
But yeah, purely for his experience, if he'd shown a bit more consistency fitness-wise, I mean, there's no doubting his playing ability. I'd have him in there in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. All right.
No.
Yeah. So interesting squad. So what's the story? What's the itinerary looking like for the All Blacks, mate? I know we've got the Ireland are coming here. Ireland.
Yes, they'll be here in July.
Yeah.
So they got 3 tests against the All Blacks in Auckland, Hamilton, and Wellington.
I think so. Yes.
And they've also got 2 games against the New Zealand Maori as well, which is an interesting introduction into the program. So
yeah,
they will be interesting games. So
will that be like probables versus possibles? You think? Will they be treating that like more of a?
No, the Maori will be selecting their best side.
Okay, they'll be selecting their best side because the All Blacks would have already selected their squad, so they'll be able to pick up anyone else. Wow.
Yeah,
that'll be good to watch.
It'll be a great chance for players that miss out on the All Black squad to, show their worth.
Absolutely.
For later selection. Now, moving on from the All Blacks, of course, they've got Ireland, and then there's the Rugby Championship a little later on in the year, which, we can talk about in future.
Are we going to play South Africa?
Yeah, playing 2 games in South Africa.
In South Africa, yeah.
Yeah,
that sounds fair.
Well done, New Zealand Rugby, for
well done. Well done. But there was a paper published on the New Zealand Rugby, wasn't there, mate?
A paper that I wrote after I went along to the Hurricanes Fijian and Drua game, and came away just feeling...
This was at Sky Stadium, wasn't it?
It was
at Sky Stadium. So you travelled down there for the day?
Yep. Over the Rimutakas to go to the game, and just it felt amateurish, like going to a club game.
Yeah.
The giveaways were bright yellow T-shirts sponsored by the Chemist Warehouse.
Neato.
With a Hurricanes badge.
Did they fire them with a T-shirt cannon?
Oh, they did that, and they were giving them
That's
away,
great fun. It's
giving
great
them
fun.
away before the game, and it just felt cheap,
Yeah.
And they were giving away the flags on plastic sticks, and
You weren't inspired, Macca. You
the
weren't
guy that
inspired to
was
support
doing
the
the ground
Hurricanes.
announcing was trying to rack up the crowd.
Come
That
on,
wasn't really
everyone!
there, and it felt really amateurish,
Yeah.
And as you know, I've been to a few Major League Baseball and
You
NFL
have
games
international
and
stadiums.
football games and rugby games in Australia and the UK, and as you have been.
Yep.
Um, and so I just felt motivated to write something down, and so I've gone through. I've got.
So you wrote the New Zealand Rugby Union a letter. Is this
I,
correct?
well, it did find its way to the rugby union. Yes.
Did you send it via fax, or because I think that's the only way they? I think that's the only way they receive correspondence.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I managed to. I was in contact for another reason, which I won't go into.
Yes.
With the acting chief financial officer at New Zealand Rugby.
Okay.
A guy by the name of John Kirkup. So
yes,
I sent this to him, and he thought I'd done a pretty good job, and he said he made comment at the time. This is a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
But well, hopefully we might have a bit of money behind us in the next couple of weeks. So perhaps we might be able to do some of the things that you're talking about.
Oh, so they're going to spend the Silver Lake money on pre-match entertainment. That's
something like that.
Oh, the New Zealand Rugby Union, they've got it. They've got it sorted, man.
So anyway, I wrote this report, and I've gone into 4 basic categories.
Yes, I want to hear it.
One is the rules. 2 was too much rugby.
Yep.
3, getting the crowds back to stadiums. And 4, just a few marketing strategies that they could perhaps use.
So you're basically doing
rather than just send a letter moaning about everything, I've come up with some solutions.
Wow.
For them.
So you're basically doing their job for them. That's what you're doing. Yep. Okay.
And I did point out when I wrote this report that I'm not interested in a job there, but I'm happy to consult on anything that they would like to know more about.
Fair enough.
So the first part was about the rules.
Yeah.
As we know, rugby is a complicated game, too complicated, and could be made a lot easier and simpler for fans to understand. I mean, there must be more rules covering just the line out than in a whole game of football.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. This is something you and I have been talking about for years and years and years with rugby, mate. I mean, it's just overcomplicated. And so, they seem to... every time there's a problem, though, they just seem to want to complicate it more, not less.
I mean, one thing I mentioned in here was, do they go to a game where when the ball goes out, they stop the clock, like they do in American sports?
Mm-hmm.
Make the game an hour, or 50 minutes or whatever.
So the spectator get their fill of ball and play.
Because at the moment, I think the last study or last report I saw was in an 80-minute game. The ball's actually only in play for 26 minutes.
Yeah, 25 minutes a game. Yep, yeah. That's right. Which is pathetic, really.
So, for example, when the referee signals for a scrum, the clock stops. And the clock doesn't start until the ball comes out of the scrum. So once the halfback puts his hands on the ball, the clock starts again.
Now, I completely agree with this. I also think, though, I'm sick of the referee signaling time off and time on. I don't think this should be the referee's job at all. There should be someone up there doing all that. If the referee does notice an indiscrepancy, like if he sort of says, okay, I set that scrum, can you reset the clock back 4 seconds or whatever? But I don't think, I'm sick of them going, okay, we'll stop the clock. Okay, ball's in, we're restarting the clock. They've got enough to think about with the. So let there be a dedicated time person doing all that sort of stuff.
The on-field referees in American football don't do it.
Exactly. And there's about 20 of them on the field.
Yeah.
So you'd think that there'd be someone able to do it. But no, honestly, there should be someone up there just doing that. They shouldn't need to be signaled to. You can see when the ball's in play and when it's not. Completely agree, mate. It might mean, though, that your Super Rugby match, it starts at 7:30, it doesn't finish till midnight, though, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what did I say? 80 minutes at the moment. If you make it an hour-long game, Yeah, that could go for a couple of hours.
It could. But then again, the rugby union would be quite happy about that because they'll be on TV more.
Yeah,
Chance for more ad breaks,
Quite
Silver
right.
Lake ads. Yep.
Another bugbear of both of ours that we've talked about time and again.
Yep.
Too much rugby.
Yep.
With Super Rugby, NPC, Heartland Rugby, and even down to club level, plus all the academy competitions, age group competitions, even televising school rugby from February to December. There's a saturation of it. Even too much for me, a rugby fan.
Yep.
And I know this particular issue is driving fans away to other codes like League.
Of course it is.
League has a season that starts in the end of March
Yep.
and finishes at the end of September.
Yep. Every year.
We know, me and you know, that on the last weekend in September, in 4 years' time, is going to be
the grand
final.
The grand final. Yep.
And in 5 years' time, at the end of March, probably the last weekend, that'll be the first round of the NRL.
Exactly.
The Super Rugby starts at a different date every year.
It seems to start earlier and earlier and earlier. It'll be starting at Christmas time soon. It will.
Well, last year, it started on the 31st of January.
I know.
So we've had it starting at the end of February, the beginning of February.
Yep.
Look, just line up all the competitions. Play Super Rugby, NPC, Heartland Rugby, everything else at the same time.
Absolutely. And play it in like a 3 or 4 month block, please. And then you've got your international rugby at the end or whenever.
Take
or
July
split it up.
Or June or July.
Exactly.
Have
split it up.
Internationals.
Yep. You'd think that would be eminently obvious.
Yep. I actually did. I even laid it out for them. Super Rugby, March to September with a June break, 12 teams, same as it is at the moment. Home and away, 22 games.
Yep.
Top 6 playoffs. NPC, April to August with a June break, playing underneath Super Rugby to give Super Rugby players an avenue to come back to Super Rugby sides and play NPC games as curtain raisers to Super Rugby games.
Yep.
The 5 New Zealand Super Rugby teams would play development sides in the NPC. Split competition into North, Central and South with 15 provinces, promoting 1 from Heartland. 5 in each region play home and away, with top 3 from each region playing 1 complete round of 8 games.
So you've even sorted out the lower tier.
Heartland Rugby, existing format, but played below Super Rugby and NPC from April to August with a June break.
Yeah. So the June break, would you have a tour from someone?
Yeah, that's when Ireland or England or whoever would come, play the All Blacks in 3 tests.
Yeah. And then at the end of the season, we send our team over there during there.
We go there at the end of October.
Or play the rugby championship every second year would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yep. And my reasoning, Super Rugby is the shop window for the game, and many fans are passing on watching NPC because they put a lot into supporting Super Rugby sides, and because of the forever changing format of the competition, changes every year, and crossover games, people are losing interest or have lost interest in the competition. So put it to good use as a feeder competition for Super Rugby.
Completely agree. Yeah, it's hard to argue with, mate.
Oh, exactly. Now, the third one is getting the crowds back to stadium.
T-shirts.
The first paragraph is pretty much what we spoke about at the top of this.
Yeah.
4 of our Super Rugby franchises have fantastic stadia, and the 5th, well, I did say at the time, is about to get a new indoor stadium, but
who knows whether that'll happen now? Yeah.
And the Crusaders might end up shifting somewhere else.
Maybe they'll have to.
The stadium.
Yeah. Maybe there'll be a second Dunedin team.
Might as well move to Napier and
exactly.
develop McLean Park.
Yeah.
What did I say here? And one thing I noticed on the TV earlier in the week, I watched the breakdown on Sky Sport, and they had the Heineken Cup European competition final last weekend. It was La Rochelle and another
French squad.
And they played at the Marseille Stadium.
Yeah.
Absolutely chocker.
Yeah.
And we get 15,000 turn up to Eden Park. It looks like there's about 15 people and a dog there.
And if you went back 20 years, that would be completely reversed.
Yeah.
Everyone would be at the new Kiwi game, and there'd be a couple of thousand in France. So what are they doing right and we're doing wrong?
Well, I've done some comparisons with, and I mean, I've used my experience here with NFL and MLB
Yep.
Crowds and how they managed to. And look, I know we're comparing apples and pears because
Of course,
their
economies of scale.
their
Yep.
populations are so much more.
Sure.
Make each game an event. Like, for example, the Arizona Cardinals have 8 home games each season in their 16-game schedule, 3 of which are their local derbies, i.e. games against teams in their division who play each other home and away every year. The format never changes. Something that's a bit alien, isn't it?
Very.
They have barbecues, tailgate parties, car park events, and while we know these sort of things can't happen around Eden Park because of its location, why not set up tailgate parties outside Waikato Stadium, on the concourse at Sky Stadium, or outside Forsyth Bar, and in and around the new, if it ever eventuates, Christchurch Stadium. Mobile food and drink sellers, get vendors with mobile trays walking up and down the aisles selling food and drink. This is one of the highlights at American sports stadia. Watching sellers market their wares at Yankee Stadium, beer sellers walk up and down wearing T-shirts with "Hey Beer Guy" plastered across the front. And, you know, hot dog sellers can hardly traverse 3 rows without being stopped for a hot dog.
You would think the suppliers would love that. You know, the people that sell more product.
Yep.
You know?
And one of the funniest things it was funny, but also really good work, was the hot dog sellers, because they sell them in the little aluminium foil.
Sure.
And so what they do is they get the condiments, put them inside the aluminium foil with the hot dog, make sure it's really tight, and throw it.
Oh, really?
Rather than have 16 people passing it down an aisle.
Yeah.
You know, they go 3 or 4 rows further down and go, "You ready? You ready? You ready?"
So they actually have pitchers in the aisle throwing hot dogs. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
You know, and people love it. And
they would.
You know, they pass their money down the aisle, and
I've seen the big sticks. They have the whole thing with the popcorn hanging from them as well. So they carry them down with the
candy floss and
candy floss. It's pretty great.
Exactly.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, basically in American stadiums, you can stay in your seat the whole game.
You never have to get off your ass, do you, mate?
The only reason you need to leave your seat is go to the bathroom.
Exactly.
What else have we got? Too many competitions being played at different times of the year. We've talked about that.
Yep.
Look at other sports in other countries. England, 1 competition with lower levels. Rest of UK, 1 competition with lower levels. France, the same. Japan, the same. Improved food and drink options at stadia. How long have we been going on about that?
Forever. It was forever.
One of Martin Devlin's biggest bugbears when he was on the radio.
Exactly. Cold chips and warm beer.
Price it more appropriately for starters.
Absolutely. You know, what does it cost, actually? What does it cost now to go to a... Because I don't want to say, you know, I'm normally on corporate junket. So what do you normally pay?
I don't know.
You don't know either.
Well, I've got a stadium membership. So
I wonder how much it costs. Do you know how much it costs for a Super Rugby ticket? I would presume it's probably at $40 minimum.
Probably something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is quite a bit of money.
You know, a few other things at mini baseball and NFL stadiums. You can get chips, chicken, burgers, nibbles, pizzas. You see the thing. Or you get your nachos in a plastic batting helmet.
You see the things they were selling at the Masters. Oh my God.
High quality meat sandwiches like pulled pork and brisket. People are happy to pay a bit more for special items like these, and sushi, salad, rolls, you know, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
Moving on to number 4, marketing strategies. Ticket pricing, we've already just talked about that. We all love to see a full crowd on the television as it adds to the spectacle and provides a good atmosphere. Yes, Super Rugby is the shop window and the highest level of the game outside test matches, but pricing needs to be more consistent and achievable for fans of all income levels. Memberships priced depending on the offering, so however much you want to spend, you can. But for the general public, $25, general admission, allocated seating, children under age 12 free.
Family options.
Concession prices for gold card holders and students and families.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I've got a couple of other things just while you've been talking about it. I've written down a couple of other things, I think. Just the marketing of it. Magic Round. I mean, nick other ideas from other sports. Magic Round does bloody gangbusters in the NRL. They tried to do it this year in the rugby, and they sent it to the wrong city. I mean, come on, do it in Auckland, Christchurch you can't because you don't have a stadium. But if you did it in somewhere like Dunedin, can you imagine how good that would be? Or even Brisbane or Sydney, places like that, it would go off. It would be fantastic. You have all the teams there. It'd be a rugby-centric thing. That would be great. The other thing would be get rid of bonus points. What the bloody hell have bonus points got to do with the game of rugby? I don't care whether they finished close. I don't care whether you got close to the other. You shouldn't get points for finishing close or scoring 4 tries. You should not score, get points for your end of year tally for little things you do during the game. That's just dumb. 2 points for a win or 3 points for a win, and that's it. I mean, simplify things, eh?
Right.
A
few other things I've got here. Marketing players and their numbers. Why do big European football teams pay hundreds of $1 million to sign big name stars? Obviously for their playing ability first, but secondly, jersey sales.
Yeah.
How many kids do you see running around the streets in Ronaldo 7 shirts?
Even Beckham, they've still got Beckham shirts on. And people wear them years and years afterwards. I was watching the ice hockey a little while ago. And someone's still got the Chris Chelios jersey on, from 20 years ago. Imagine having a Levin Lomu. You could sell the old classic jerseys with their names on them. You'd think the New Zealand Rugby Union would be all over this. They'd probably be able to make the money that Silver Lake were giving them on it.
Oh, exactly. But then you might get the person that says, "Oh, I wanted a Geordie Barrett jersey, but I don't know if he's playing 12 or 15." Well, just select what number you prefer him to
give them
play.
the option.
Yeah.
Give them the option to put whatever number or name they want on it.
Yep. I mean, how many people would buy a McCaw 7 shirt?
Oh, mate. Shirt? Or a Lomu 11. Exactly.
Lomu 11. Yeah.
Mate, you would imagine if the New Zealand Rugby Union said today, right, we're releasing 15 classic jerseys from all the best. We've got a Fitzpatrick 2, we've got a Meads 5. We've got you got all the best players. 8. Exactly. Or a Shelford 8 or whatever.
Yeah. Can
you imagine the amount of people who go, this is an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting one. I'd probably get one, mate. I don't know.
Many years ago when the Super Rugby first started, some of them tried it, but they used terrible fonts. And the Chiefs stuck with it for a couple of years, but you couldn't read the name on the back.
Yeah, it sort of defeats the purpose.
Use a decent font which stands out like the Premier
League. White. Yeah, white on black, or a colour that stands out from the colour of your jersey, right?
Yeah.
Talk about spelling out the most simple shit.
Exactly. Pre-season. Use the pre-season games to generate interest in the smaller areas of the franchises, as is currently the case in the likes of Central Otago, Nelson, Palmerston North, Whangarei, Tauranga, etc. And even have one game a season in each franchise at a smaller venue. I mean, I know American football can't do it because there's too many people want to go to the pre-season games. But, take them around the country and then you'll attract, if you take a game up to Whangarei, come the season, kids will go, Dad, can we go down to Auckland and watch the Blues play?
Absolutely, mate.
I got Beauden Barrett's autograph when he was in Whangarei.
Yeah.
I want to see him play.
Yep.
Now here's a goodie. Promotional items and giveaways.
T-shirts.
We talked about the horrible bright yellow T-shirts. Go to any MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL game. The promotional giveaways include amazing collectible items.
Yep.
Like bobbleheads and
that you actually want
for player marketing.
That you actually want to keep and display.
Yeah.
If you're a sports fan. Yeah.
Caps, good quality T-shirts, collectible balls, actual proper baseball, hockey puck, football, mini basketball.
Just getting little mini rugby balls, little mini rugby balls, getting the players to each sign 20 of them.
Yeah.
And then just throwing them out to the crowd. I mean, it'd cost less than the T-shirts.
Yeah. And you get those printed to commemorate a special event. I mean, franchises like the Arizona Diamondbacks don't pay for bobbleheads.
No.
They get sponsors to pay for bobbleheads. You know, I've got 3 of them up above me. I can't show you them because you've got Fry's Supermarket, Pepsi, all sorts of different sponsors. They pay for them.
Yeah.
The clubs get 20,000. They give away 18,000 of those to the first 18,000 fans in the gates.
Yep.
The other 2,000 get given out to corporates, staff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
All that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to Yankee Stadium on Cat Day, and the quality of Cat just really, really good.
Mate, can you remember? Can you remember when we were? This is going back 20 plus years. They used to have those little plastic All Blacks. Remember, we used to collect those at the service stations. Remember?
Yes, Celtic.
The little. How popular were they? They were they were popular. Small Blacks. Thank you.
Yeah.
They were popular with us. We were adults. Kids loved them. I mean, that was so many years ago. You know, so many years ago.
Yep.
Just do something like that. You get your kids buying. I want all 15, Dad. I want to go back to the gas station. Or I want to go back to the, you know, if you hand them out at the games, imagine, hang on, you have 15 games a year. How many players in a team? Oh, 15. Oh, you could do one a game, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Hey, I want to collect all 15. Dad, I've got to go to the games. Oh, jeez.
Quite right. And I mean, Hugh, again, use the legends of the game. You know, at the first game of the season, hand out Jonah Lomu bobbleheads.
Totally.
You know,
totally.
or Vinderi bobbleheads.
Absolutely.
You know,
and honour your past greats, you know, honour them. Yeah.
Yep. Actually, I actually wrote, for example, I'm writing this while watching the Arizona Diamondbacks who are playing the Miami Marlins, and behind home plate, a banner said Memorial Day camo caps. So people who went along on Memorial Day got an Arizona Diamondbacks camo cap.
Yeah, nice.
You know, probably paid for by the local
by another
supermarket
sponsor.
Or
absolutely.
You know, and for example, if say Countdown paid for the Jonah Lomu bobblehead, they could sell them in the store.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this isn't the reason you go to the game.
No.
But this is the reason you might go back, isn't it, Macca?
Yeah. You know? Ooh, they're giving away bright yellow T-shirts. I must go for that one.
I really need something else to wear to bed.
And finally, it's one that we have harped on ever since the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame and celebrating former players.
Statues, name the stands. Yeah. I mean, Eden Park's the biggest load of crap I've ever, you know, North Stand, South Stand, Northeast Terraces. You're like, we've had so many great players.
Yep.
We've, you know, going all the way back to bloody, you know.
The closest I've seen is at Sky Stadium in Wellington, where aisle 13 is the Tana Umanga aisle.
There you go, mate.
What do you start?
Yeah, well, our old friend Doug Golightly used to often refer to it as Ron Jardine Stadium, didn't he? And Stacey Jones Stadium, and in there at Mount Smart, mate. You know, so
and
definitely.
Even put in here, franchises could even go as far as having one home game per season to raise funds for former players who've fallen on harder times in conjunction with the Players Association.
It's a no-brainer too, isn't it? I mean, people would obviously reach into their pockets if they were helping past stars and they knew that they were desperate for help. I think, those are just some of the things they could do. And those are some of the things you thought about on the couch watching a game of basketball after having a bad experience.
Yep.
And yet there's people paid millions of dollars at the rugby union, and why they paid millions of dollars, I got no idea. God knows why they are. I mean, it does make me wonder whether when they have their board meetings, when they sit around, do they have people like us going, we need to do these things? Or is everyone just like a big, we're doing a great job?
Yeah, that T-shirt giveaway was really popular.
Real good, man. We gave away 10,000 of those. You know, what is it? Is it they need to do some self-analysis?
Apathy.
It is. It must be.
Just
But
apathy.
the thing is, if it carries on this, I mean, no one's going to be watching rugby in 10 years. No one. So then what are they going to do? Go to Gold Lake.
Quite right. Right. Anyway, let's
So there you go. We've just solved all the problems of the rugby union.
I know I've been moaning for the last hour or so, but this week I've got a Macca's moan. So it's a new segment.
I love it.
So next week we might have a Mahona's moan.
Love it.
But this week it's Macca's moan.
Go on, hit me.
American golfer Dustin Johnson announced this week he's off to join Phil Mickelson on the Saudi back tour, stating he's doing it for his family.
Oh, for the family, like Vin
Sports
Diesel.
people, just be honest when you make decisions to join a tour like this or move to another club, or that you're leaving New Zealand rugby to play in Europe. You're not doing it for your family. You're doing it because you're getting a shitload of money. Just be honest. Every sports fan in the world knows the real reason. Don't hide behind the facade of, I'm doing it for my family.
It's for family. Do everything for my family. Oh, that's ridiculous. I mean, Dustin Johnson, he's married to Gretzky's daughter too, isn't he, old Dustin Johnson?
But how often do we hear it, sports people,
Oh, yeah, I'm quite sick of it. I'd love someone, it'd be nice and refreshing, wouldn't it, if someone just came out and said, even just recently, Sadio Mane is thinking of leaving Liverpool. He is leaving for the money because we are criminally underpaying that man. Yeah. But he wanted 4 times what he was getting at Liverpool. He said he wanted 400,000. He's getting 100,000, which is underpaid for him. But he's saying that he needs to leave for a new challenge. You're going to be playing in the German league where Bayern Munich have won the last 10 years. I don't think that's a new challenge. I think you're leaving because of the money. Just tell us. Just be honest. And you'll get respect from us, right? No, it's just crap. I'm sick of those sorts of excuses too, mate. Okay, we've got a best bet of the week, mate. Hit me with your best bet of the week. I want to make some money this weekend.
Right. The Waratahs have shown this season that while they're inconsistent, they can get up for the big games. Of course, they beat my Crusaders, and I did big time on that. And they also got up and beat the Hurricanes too, I think. So I'm picking an upset win over the Chiefs in the Super Rugby quarterfinals. Tars are paying $3.80 for the win, $4.40 for 12 and under if you think it's going to be a close one.
Those are good odds. Those are good odds. $3.80 for the win, head to head.
Yes. So I did say
like
the Chiefs earlier on.
So that's the one game you can see maybe an upset. The other ones are pretty much go to. I don't mind that at all, mate. Good work. Okay, so we got a good week, bad week from me. I'm going to start with. What do you want me to start with? My good week or bad week?
Entirely up to you, bud.
Let's start with a good week. Has to go to Carlo Ancelotti, mate. The coach of Real Madrid, the man who's just super calm all the time. Calm, cool. Carlo. He is cool, isn't he? I mean, for all, he's beaten us how many times? 3 times now as Liverpool, actually. He's won the Champions League 4 times, which is more than any other manager. And look, I mean, for all, every time he beats us and, we'd have reason to hate him, but we don't, do we? We like Carlo. I don't know why I like him. He just sort of do. He just sort of seems like the guy, he's like an old grandfather sort, isn't he? That just sort of seems to, and he definitely inspired that team because earlier in the year, they lost to Sheriff in the group stage. So,
they did.
Has to be Carlo Ancelotti. What a great week for that man.
Interesting to see that his son is his assistant coach.
I know. It's cool, eh?
Yeah.
I like that. We keep it in the family as well. My bad week, it has to go to Warriors owner and alpha male, he called himself that, Mark Robinson. What an absolute bellend, mate.
Give yourself an uppercut, son.
Fucking hell, mate. I mean, look, I love the side. I love the Warriors. But we've never had the right ownership, and I was really hoping that this guy could have been it, But when he comes out and says, "Oh, it's just 2 alpha males going at it," well, what the fuck are you even doing with the players anyway, mate? It's not like you'd see John Henry in the dressing room with the Liverpool players giving it to you didn't play well, Just keep out of that shit, mate. You're there to own the club. If you see anything majorly going wrong, sure, step in, but that was a player do, and it sounds like he was pissed too. So, And also the fact that he sent out his CEO a few hours before to give a press conference where he basically lied to everyone. He was obviously sent out by Mark Robinson. Yeah, just give yourself an uppercut, mate. You're a dick, and just stay out of the Warriors. Just own them and just be a silent owner. Just stay out of it. Yeah. So there you go. That's my good week and bad week. Two alpha males. I'll take one over the other. Thanks very much.
Well, I think we've got a few things off our chest, and we've come up with a few solutions as well.
We did. We're not interested in problems. We're interested in solutions, right, Macca?
Yep, quite right. As one of my old bosses at BP used to say, no excuses, only answers.
Beautiful. And that's what we provide here on the Hot Air Sports Podcast every second week. We try and do it every second week, sometimes every week. We do our best, people. We've got busy lives. You know how it is.
We certainly do.
Yeah. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all that sort of stuff. We love getting your feedback. And until next time, I'm going to say goodbye. It's good night from me.
And it's a goodbye from him.